Security is first, last, and always a business. We offer a high level of services to our clients and our employees in an effort to protect the assets that allow an organization to operate. Hello and welcome to the PSTN Basic Security Officer Training Series. I'm Bill Jackson. You know, people are at the root of any business endeavor. Not only must we dedicate ourselves to the task of protecting them, we must accomplish this goal while maintaining a demeanor of approachability and openness. The world of work is a big component of the average person's life. Work matters. Safety and security at work matters too. Many times, the professional security officer is the only official of a company that a client or a visitor has direct contact with. It is also the security officer who often acts as a conduit for the company to apply its rules and regulations in an effort to help the business thrive. The fact of the matter is that you are constantly on display. What you say and what you do matters. How you choose to conduct yourself has an impact. The reason why we're in the security business in the first place is to serve the client. The client is the person who pays the freight. They may be the CEO, Director of Security, or the Human Resources Manager. The client appreciates the need for security, or we wouldn't be employed here in the first place. The client needs to feel that a valuable service is being rendered to their business, or the need for us becomes non-existent. Security only exists for the service it can provide. We must be able to service the client in a manner they deem appropriate. We must respect their wishes. The client or boss may not always be right, but they are always the boss. Our continued success as professionals revolves around keeping our clients happy. Any other viewpoint will only help us to self-destruct, and rapidly. So, how do we keep a client happy? How do we show them what we can do without being overbearing? Well, the answer can be found in your attitude, something over which you have total control. The fact of the matter is that a security officer often serves as the front man or woman for the company. You are an authority figure whether you like it or not. You could well be the only official that a visitor will meet. You could also well be the first representative of your organization that a visitor will have to deal with. Your attitude towards the job can make all the difference in the world. Like it or not, Mom was right. First impressions do count. Developing, maintaining, and projecting proper security attitude centers on 5 basic components. First, looking good. You should be neat and clean in your appearance. Your uniform should be clean and well pressed. Shoes shined, hair combed, gig line straight, and your equipment in good working order. The military has a simple saying that goes, look sharp, be sharp. It's true. A sharp appearance both commands respect and influences how you feel about yourself. 2, perform well. Know your job and give it your best effort. In the security business, there's no such thing as a menial task. Everything is tied in some way to everything else. Strive to see the big picture and develop an appreciation for your place in it. 3, speak clearly. Look at someone when you talk to them. Make eye contact. Know what you're talking about. As security officers, we must function as an information resource. This is one of the functions that the client expects from us. Take the time to know what you need to know. Be able to look up the answers to things that are routinely requested. You may not be able to answer every question that is asked of you, but you should be comfortable in making a referral. 4, be polite. The vast majority of complaints filed by visitors and clients consist of instances of rude behavior on the part of a security officer. We must be mindful of the fact that we are being paid to be polite. The visitor or other site employee is not. A quick study of the actions leading up to most physical assaults against security officers will show that the confrontation started with an impolite comment or response on the part of the officer. As a security professional, there is really no excuse or reason for you to be rude or impatient. 5. Be respectful. This starts with a healthy dose of self-respect. If you are proud of your contribution and proud of your work ethic, you will find it much easier to respect those traits in others. The whole area of prejudice and harassment is nothing more than a lack of respect for others. People will naturally be respectful of you and your uniform if they get the impression that you're treating them the same way. Always be respectful. When we talk about serving the public, who is it that we're really talking about? Is that just a general term that makes reference to all people everywhere? Well, no, not exactly. In a very real sense, we can divide the publics that we deal with into 5 basic groups of people. Each group comes to us with a different set of needs and wants regarding the level and intensity of the services that we can provide. Each group looks at us in a little different way than the members of any other group. The 5 groups are visitors. The visitors to the work area are going to look at us as a source of information. As previously stated, we could be the only official members of the organization that a visitor gets to deal with. We have to be approachable, friendly, and sympathetic. Visitors may ask some seemingly simple questions from time to time. These questions may be redundant to us, and we may tend to be impatient with the visitor. Remember, visitors are our guests. When they're on our property, we need to treat them as our guests. If that means being a guide, then that's what we do. If it means listening to a concern or a suggestion, then that is what we do. If it means helping with a problem, then that's what we do. When it comes to visitors, we should be able to adapt to being anything they need us to be within reason. Be responsive within reason. Employees. The people that we work with are going to look to us as a source of information, but it will be information of a different nature. Rules, regulations, and emergency procedures are what employees need to know from us. The things that we know and deal with on a daily basis impact the lives of these people in a very direct way. We need to listen to their concerns and handle problems promptly and professionally. They're counting on us to make sure that they're safe at the work site. Plus, they want us to keep an eye on their belongings. When situations get dangerous, the employees are going to look to us in order to get out of harm's way. The media. They will want to know what we know. Fortunately, we can't tell them. Our relationship with the media must be one of polite referral. They're the agents of public information and can be very dedicated to the task of finding out what is going on. As security practitioners, we're in a unique position of knowing what's going on. Their interest in us and in what we do is quite natural. Never get angry or confrontational in any way with a member of the media. Memorize the name and phone numbers of the media relations professional within your organization. He is the individual whom you should tell them to contact. But also keep in mind, a polite relationship will come in handy when we have to get information out to people in a short period of time. Be polite, but refer. Telephone callers. When the contact is made via phone, a positive first impression must be made. Sit up straight and give the caller a polite, positive greeting. Give them your undivided attention. Be helpful and be respectful when dealing with people on the phone. Take the time to take a few notes when dealing with a phone caller. Make sure to read back to them any requests that they made in order to ensure accuracy. It's also a very good idea to get a callback number. Call them once the request has been handled to assure them that their concern was addressed. Emergency personnel. This includes all members of law enforcement, fire, and EMS, hazmat, and utilities. They're the ones whom we'll deal with when things go from great to gritty. They'll have to know what our capabilities and training parameters are. They'll need to know where they can assist us. And they also need to know what we expect of them when we call for their help. The relationship that we develop with emergency personnel is one that pays big dividends when a worst-case scenario becomes a life reality. Building client-oriented security is an ongoing process. It's not the kind of thing that we can do once in a while. It has to be a part of all that we do as security officers. It requires you to develop the habit of interacting with the others on the job. Take an interest in those around you. You will quickly discover that people love to talk about themselves. The more you find out about them and their workday, the more you'll be able to provide the kinds and types of services that will help make the workplace safer and more secure. Here are some simple tactics to employ. Be human and be aware of human relations. You can be professional without being a robot. You can interact with your coworkers and not compromise the security of the facility. Be prepared for emergencies. You're the one people are going to count on if something should happen. You need to be up to speed on the disaster plans for the site and the emergency procedures that are going to be used if the worst should happen. Think before acting. Allow yourself the luxury of using the time that you have available to decide what should be done. If you have the time, take the time. Your uniform places you in a leadership position. There may be those rare instances when you have to decide and react quickly. These are the exceptions, not the rule. Most of the time, we can think something through before you respond. Try to be a good role model. As a security officer, you're going to be charged with applying the rules. As a security professional, it is essential to your task that you play by the rules. If another person wants to know how they should act or what they should do when making a work decision, they should be able to look at you. Inspire confidence. People are going to come to you with a variety of problems. The way you handle these problems and yourself are going to form a foundation for your reputation as an officer. Your reputation is going to get to the scene long before you do. How do you want to be thought of? What mental picture do you want people to see when they think of you? Are you approachable? Are you dependable? Be physically fit. That does not mean you have to be a bodybuilder, but it does mean in order to function in a high-stress situation, you must be reasonably fit. Be emotionally fit. The principle that Sir Robert Peel enacted when he started the London Metropolitan Police was that a constable must have a perfect command of temper. The rule still applies today. We are the ones who must be calm in the face of aggression. We are the ones who must think clearly in chaos. We are the ones who must think tactically when others are responding emotionally. Understand the difference between authority and power. Authority is something that comes with a job and title. Power is something that you're granted by the people around you. Authority is written into the job description. Power develops as a result of reputation and effectiveness in doing the job. Be mindful of the needs of others. Our job exists because of the needs of others. People need to feel safe in the places that they work, shop, study, and live. Companies and organizations need to feel that their policies and rules are being applied fairly and evenly to limit exposure to risks of all types. As much as the organization needs us, we need them too. Never stop learning. Training and education are essential to do the job well and continuing to meet client needs. Continuous reading is essential. The only thing that you can count on at work is the simple fact that things are going to change. Change is not something to be afraid of. It's something to anticipate and embrace. The needs of the client are going to change as well. People change for one of two reasons. They either see the light or they feel the heat. When you feel the heat, you're reacting. When you see the light, you can be proactive. Which do you think is more valuable to the client? All people have the following needs. People need to be respected. How they are addressed, listened to, and treated by the security officer must all demonstrate respect. The security officer should always look for new ways to show respect for others. Understanding. People need to feel that others understand them. Their needs and concerns also have to be understood. Actively listening to what the person is telling you. Provide feedback with words such as, "I see," or "okay." Nod your head when you understand. Efficacy. This is a belief of self-worth. This is the foundation of self-esteem. Feelings of efficacy are reinforced by sincere compliments, such as calling attention to a recent accomplishment or promotion. A good example of this is congratulating someone for becoming a supervisor. Security officers are often the first people called to a scene to deal with an angry individual. How you deal with someone who is having problems controlling their temper is the mark of a truly professional officer. It makes little difference what form the anger takes. Anger is a manifestation of an emotion, and there are ways to deal with it effectively. But to do this, there are some concepts that you need to understand concerning anger. Anger is a feeling. It comes from the same place that any human emotion or feeling comes from. Anger causes changes in physical functions. It increases blood pressure, pumps adrenaline into the system, affects breathing, and increases heart rate. It produces what is sometimes referred to as fight or flight syndrome. Anger is sometimes very easy to see. Tantrums, yelling, screaming, jumping up and down, and making wild and erratic gestures are hard to miss. Anger can sometimes be hidden and very difficult to spot. The angry person can sometimes look very cool and even caring, but the anger is there. It's just right under the surface. We just need to look for it to see it. Sometimes other emotions are disguised as anger. Worry, fright, or even sadness can look like anger at first glance. That's why we need to be careful about trying to categorize what we see too quickly. Dealing with angry people presents a perfect opportunity to practice the art of taking your time. Slow down the action, speak a little slower, move a little slower. Basically, what an angry person is doing is responding to a stressful situation in a childlike manner. Have you ever seen a small child throw a tantrum? No. They may scream and yell and may even get disciplined. But remember something, and it's critical here. What they really want is a need to be met as quickly as possible. A spanking may be a small price to pay for getting what you want. When managing anger, we need to make sure that our response is mature and well thought. Talk tactically. Use your words to change behavior. Don't use words to express your own emotions. Speak for a specific purpose. What causes an angry response? Well, there are basically three things that work together in the mind of an individual to cause an angry response. First, their past experience. Second, people's responses to their past experiences. 3, a triggering situation. A situation that can trigger anger can be something as simple as a rude remark or gesture. Being made to wait can also trigger anger. Hearing unpleasant news, such as imminent layoffs, can precipitate an angry response. Underlying causes of anger can be as complex as years of verbal or physical abuse. At first, we will not be able to tell what really started the whole process of acting out in an angry way. But we do know from years of research that there are general underlying causes for anger. 1, dependency. It's a feeling that we have absolutely no control. Remember how you felt during the last power outage you experienced? Nothing worked, and there was nothing you could do about it. You just had to wait it out. This is an example of dependency. 2. Authority. Not having any authority can make people angry, and so can having too much. Not being able to assume responsibility for anything can be terribly frustrating. Being held responsible for things that you have no direct knowledge or control over can be equally exasperating. Unclear limits. Having no rules or guidelines to follow can be worse than having too many rules and guidelines to follow. Complexity. The more complicated things become, the more opportunities there are for things to go wrong. People try to make their vacations as uncomplicated as possible for a reason. Prior unresolved conflict. Something from the past that was not handled properly can eat away at someone for years. Angry people often have poor problem-solving skills. Communications problems. Probably the biggest cause of anger in the world today. Miscommunication can be worse than no communication at all. Angry people are often not the best communicators. So, how do we effectively deal with angry people? There's a formula that has been around for years and is used by police officers all over the world. It's a simple 6-step method. First, listen. Often, that is all that the angry person really wanted in the first place. Remember the child throwing the temper tantrum? Attention is the key. Listen to what they have to say. Remember, they might have a legitimate reason for their anger. Try and find it out if you can. Don't speak unless you have something to say. Say a little, learn a lot. 2, acknowledge feelings. Let them know that you understand that they are upset. Try to relate to them. It's often very effective to use what is called a statement of regret. Say you're sorry the incident happened to them. It's very hard to be angry with someone who is feeling bad for you. Say you're sorry, but don't place blame or responsibility on anyone for what happened. Find agreement. Listen for items that both of you can agree on. Once again, it's very difficult to be angry with someone who's agreeing with you. Just look for those small items that you can agree on and use them to build rapport. Identify the problem. You and the angry person should try to determine what is causing the bad feelings. Review in your mind the underlying causes. Once you think you're on the right track, see if the individual agrees with you. Identify a solution. It does not have to be permanent, just workable. Some situations do not have a permanent solution. Think of what has worked in the past and try those possibilities. Think of what has not worked in the past and avoid them. If the person pressures you to try a solution that is not allowable, don't tell them you won't do it. Tell them you can't. When you say you won't, it sounds like you're making a choice. When you say you can't, it sounds like someone else has to be involved and they won't let you do it. This can make a big difference to an angry person. Close properly. Review the solution to make sure the person is clear about what is going to happen. Thank them for bringing the problem to your attention. Thanking them sounds like a silly thing to do to someone who's been behaving badly, but you have to look beyond that and see what it really does. It allows them to save face. It allows them to walk away thinking that the situation was handled well. It allows them to feel very positive about their dealings with you. It allows you to look very professional about how you handle people that others can't handle. When you're dealing with them, try to keep the following demeanor. 1, communicate confidence and composure. Staying calm will help to calm them down. Do not take what they say personally. They are merely trying to express their frustrations. Once their anger has subsided, they will regret what they said. Don't internalize their negative messages. Be firm and assertive. You're the one in control. You are the authority figure. Conduct yourself accordingly. One of the hardest things to try and define in the security business is what the relationship between the police and the security officers is, and what it could be. The two professions suffer in their relationship because they are so much alike. Both services are aimed at the protection of life and property. Both groups are proud of what they do. They make a contribution that is sometimes hard to explain in terms of dollars and cents. Someone has to make the first step in developing a positive relationship. The security officer is in a great position to do just that. The ball is in your court. Get to know police officers who patrol your area. Take the time to stop and talk with them when the opportunity presents itself. Their response to a call changes when they know you. 2, if possible, set up an area in your headquarters for officers to come in and write reports and use a phone. A coffee pot close by wouldn't hurt either. 3, become familiar with local laws and police procedures. Know what the police can and can't do. 4, maintain incident scenes in a professional manner. Brief the police when they arrive with timely and accurate information. And finally, 5, develop close working relationships by being as helpful as possible when requests are received from the local police. When they ask for your help with information or services, try to assist them as much as possible. However, keep in mind the policies of your employer. Your relationship with the local police must be a positive one. They need us and we need them. The goal here is simple and profound: trust. If two agencies or two people trust one another, the communication between them is fast, accurate, and virtually effortless. If there is no trust, the communication is cumbersome and filled with errors. Strive for trust. In the end, the whole community will benefit and our jobs will get a little easier. That's our program on human and public relations. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on PSTN.